Tonight's event explores issues that go to the heart of our ability to succeed, both in our business and personal goals. Confidence, motivation, fear of failure, worry. These are the issues that our employees and our colleagues face every day. Crucially, these are the issues that every single one of us face, be it at work or be it at home, be it the aspects of our lives that inspire us or the coping strategies that we employ or try to employ to deal with our deepest fears and our personal demons. Tonight's speaker has developed an approach, Tools for Life, to help people to change, to develop and to grow. Sean Connolly is dedicated to the development of human potential. He has nearly 30 years experience in martial arts and nearly 20 years in therapies that address motivational, coping and stress reduction skills. Sean has travelled the world to enhance his skills and ability to help others. A qualified applied kinesiologist, an advanced medical hypnotherapy consultant, he was also the first Westerner to take part in the Hindu Fire Walk Festival in Singapore. As we can see, this walk is 20 feet long and 2.5 feet deep with 5,000 burning compressed hardwood logs. Not only that, but the preparation included being whipped and hosed down and forced to roll a quarter of a mile on a gritty road. So not your average Club 18 to 30 holiday. A sportsman from a young age, Sean has boxed, he has sparred with world champion cage fighters and provided therapies and coaching for athletes. Many of you will recognise Sean from the Stephen Nolan programme Mission Employable, a BBC series tackling the obstacles that have been standing in the way of 6 young people in Northern Ireland and preventing them from achieving their goals in life. Sean has also worked with leading sport figures and teams from rugby to motorbike racing, from archery to Irish dancing. He has also provided sessions to leading organisations such as the Bank of Ireland, the Consumer Council and the Northern Ireland Audit Office. After tonight's lecture, the Pro Vice-Chancellor, Professor James McElnay, will chair a brief Q&A, so you'll have an opportunity to ask Sean some questions, but I had a sense that maybe Sean might be very interactive throughout his debate. Until then, please join me in giving a warm welcome to our guest speaker, Mr. Sean Connolly.
Okay, I'd like to start by thanking you all for coming along on such a great night. If it had been me, I would have went home and had a barbecue, but that's just me. I'd like also to thank Stephen for setting this up. It's a wonderful opportunity for me to share my work. A lot of people still don't understand what I do. Probably the most curious person is my mum. She asks me every week, what is it I do? And when I try to explain it to her, she asks me why I don't have a proper job. I can work with a whole range of sports, as you see. I can work in different companies at different levels, because really, and as you'll see at the end of this talk today, we are all the same, really. I call this change your state and change your world, because the world that we all live in is really inside our head, because the world never really changes. Some people think it's a terrible place, some people think it's wonderful, and that's always changing. So I start the first part of the program with knowing your enemy. That's states that will make you feel small, make you feel insecure or weak, and can even make you ill in the process if it goes on long term. It can be a wee bit uncomfortable. It's states that we all get into, and we will get into in the future. I know all this stuff, and I still experience fear and bouts of anger, but it's understanding what they're trying to tell you as a human being, and then knowing what to do to actually change that, so you can start moving on in your life and get the results that you want for yourself. Okay? I try and keep all my work as simple as possible. If I make it very complicated or like rocket science, then it might seem interesting or make me seem more intelligent, but you won't be able to use it. And my objective for today is for you to leave this hall with a better understanding of how you work and how you can change your own state in certain aspects of your life. Feel free to ask any questions at any point, and if you think anything I'm saying it doesn't make sense or it just sounds like rubbish, just, get it out there and we'll talk about it, okay? You have to question everything in your life. I'll be asking you to take part in small demonstrations as well, so that you can experience maybe thought patterns and states, how they will affect your physical body, and how they even affect your whole autonomic, your whole autonomic nervous system. You don't have to take part in these, but if you take part, you will experience something. And if you can experience what your thought patterns are doing, and you feel stronger or weaker, then you're changing belief systems within the mind. And you're really guided through your life by your, your belief systems. Okay? We'll get started. So the first one is fear. It's probably one of the most powerful states that human beings generate for themselves. It's not all bad. Fear is built in for survival, to protect you as a human being. It's letting you know that there's danger. It's built in for survival. It stops you getting in with the polar bear up at the zoo. Okay? But it can get out of hand. There's different levels of fear. Fear can become very irrational. I would see people on a weekly basis with irrational fears. I've even seen some students in the past from Queens who would completely pass out during exams. Such a big fear of failure was anchored into their nervous system. A lot of athletes that I would see also would be physically sick. You're only born with two natural fears. A lot of your other fears are learnt and programmed by, a society, through your experiences, your parents and your peers. Okay? It can freeze one completely. It's a major cause of lost opportunities in life. And I would see this a lot in sports. Some of the greatest athletes are the greatest athletes in the world, in their own gym, in their own environment, in their own comfort zone. But when it comes to entering a competition, they pull out. Such a big fear of failure exists within their mind. And it can get to a degree where it will actually bring on an injury, a physical injury, or the person will have a flu or a cold just before the event. And this is actually noted in a lot of sports science books now. That's brought on by, you can see later on, the unconscious part of the mind. It's very overprotective, and it controls all the functions in the body through the autonomic nervous system. It's performing over 5 million functions a second, but it's been likened to a 4-year-old child. Okay? And it likes comfort, doesn't like discomfort, the thought of it, fear or pain. So if it believes that you're going down that road, it will stop you by bringing on an injury or cutting the brain out completely. The person will pass out. Okay? Does anybody know anyone in the past who suffers such fears or such levels of fear? Anybody experienced it for themselves? No? Work, again. People won't go for promotions or interviews. Fear of interviews themselves. A fear of looking stupid in front of other people. It will affect relationships also. Some people have a great fear of speaking to strangers, so they never develop relationships. They'll always stay within their own comfort zone, their own environment, and with people who are like them. Sports, I just spoke about sports, and it can cause self-loathing, because if you carry this fear most of your life, and as I say, there's a lot of people out there, and you may know some yourself, you look back in your life with a lot of regret when you know that you had the resources to carry something out, to succeed or to achieve something in your life, and fear kept you back from doing that. You'll start to beat yourself up about it, and that turns to self-loathing. And again, there are different stages like fear or pain or stress. Self-loathing can become very dangerous. Okay? Anger. And again, we've seen people in the past who actually look like this when they lose their temper. Anger, again, it's not, a lot of us are actually brought up, it's a bad thing to lose your temper and you shouldn't get angry. Anger is a very natural emotion. And all our emotions, all the natural emotions that we have, are usually warning signs or telling you that something's wrong. If you think something's not fair, some people think life isn't fair, they get angry with life itself. If you have been passed over for a promotion work, you can get angry. If you can't do something, if you lose patience with yourself. Again, if you keep anchoring in the emotion anger and you get really good at it and it gets really strong, it can be hard to switch off. And it does give one the intellect of an animal at times. People will not analyse a situation when they get very angry. You just have to watch the news, how many people are stabbed in Northern Ireland through alcohol and people fighting. They don't analytically stand back and work out what they're doing, because when they lose their anger, they turn into an animal. A lot of people, when they're very angry, couldn't do their 5 times tables. They don't analyse. But again, I always say it's your dark side. Everybody has that dark side. We're born with it, and it can be there for protection. And sometimes, anger can help you with that wee bit of motivation, but like all emotions, it has to be balanced. You have to be aware that it's there. You have to be able to express it in, there's normal ways without, affecting your life or wrecking somebody else's life. Know it's there. Keep it. I always say it's a bit like keeping an alligator in the kitchen. It can be handy for keeping people out of the house, but if it gets out of hand, it'll attack everything around it. So be aware, and every state that we're going through here today, everybody here will experience it. All human beings have these emotional states, but we let them carry us in different directions in our life, or we let them get really strong and they hold us back, or they keep us at a certain level. There's a saying in martial arts, know your enemy, and that's what it really means, is know the enemy inside yourself. Once you can control it, you know the rules of it, then you can do anything. You can defeat anybody or any challenge. Okay, it raises acid levels in the blood. There's been a lot of scientific research on this. You have an acid-alkaline balance. If there's a high acid balance within the bloodstream, then it's open to infections and growths, yeast infections, candida, and even worse. So a big thing in the health, the health sites is alkalizing the blood. It's a lot to do with your diet, but also your emotional state. Every cell in your body knows what you're thinking. Again, it will affect your work. Nobody likes to work with angry people or people who lose their temper very quickly. Relationships, every year, there's relationships breaking up through friendship, or partners, through one of them can't control their anger. They end up smashing up things around the house or smashing people's lives. It will affect sport. It's a weekly issue on the news of people getting put off football pitches. In my background, I grew up in boxing, and you always knew if you lost your temper, you lost the match, because you can't analyse, you can't think what's going on when the anger comes over you, so you might as well step out of the ring. So you learn to control your anger. And it is the biggest cause of lost lives. Either people going to prison for losing their anger and doing something stupid, or people losing their own lives through it. Okay, worry. When I worked a lot with the kinesiology and the acupressure, on a daily basis, people would come to me with irritable bowel syndrome and all sorts of other symptoms, and it's usually down to worry. It was causing a lot of anxiety and stress in their life. And this is scientifically, a lot of GPs know this. Irritable bowel syndrome is usually psychosomatic. A lot of people worry about everything. They worry about their children, they worry about themselves, their future, they worry about public speaking, they worry about their job, they worry about things in the past. So they're constantly worrying, and my perception of worry is somebody building an illusion in the future, because the future does not exist, only the present exists. Most people that I would see in the clinic their head's stuck in the past, or they're worrying about the future. So they're stressing over things that are beating themselves up with guilt, or they're worrying about the future. And if you're backing off from your future, when you're building that illusion in your head, it's usually a worrying future that you're building. Worrying does nothing for anybody. It just makes the body ill, and it actually makes you very weak. A lot of athletes that I would see before an event, this is one of the things that I would eradicate from their mind, because it constantly drains them. In the kinesiology, you'll see the person's thought patterns. You'll feel what's going on through muscle testing. You can test any muscle in the body when somebody's worrying about something, and it will weaken. Do you just want to give this a wee go? It's very basic kinesiology. Sandra, is it? Wasn't Sandra?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Try this yourselves. If you don't want to do it here, try it when you go home, or even do it with your children coming up to exams. Ask them to think about the thing that they're worrying on in their head, and test any muscle in their body. I do it a lot. I work a lot with world champion dancers, and their legs are weak as water, a lot of them, before the big event. Some of them's 4 or 5 times world champion. So they're getting up on the stage, they're trying to perform, or runners, any type of athlete, and they're only performing at 50% of their maximum, because the body's weak due to their thought patterns. Okay, so if you just turn around here, okay, and just hold your arm strong for me, okay? Now, if you close your eyes, and the reason you close your eyes with this is you're taking the conscious, critical mind away, okay? When you close your eyes, you can be anywhere. You can be in an event in the past, or you can be in an event in the future. So I want you to think about, the biggest worry in your life at the minute, something you're really worried about. Bring the feeling in. It's very important that you bring the feeling in, and let me know when it's there. Have you got it yet?
No. I'm okay. Okay.
You got it? Okay, and hold. Okay, open your eyes and hold again. Don't think about it. Okay, change your state. Okay, focus on your arm and hold. Okay, feel the difference?
Yeah, absolutely.
Just want to try that yourselves. It can be something that you have a fear of, or it can be something that you're actually worried about. And later on, I'm going to show you how to reverse this. And again, you can pass that on to whoever you think that needs it. So, thanks very much. Okay, just want to try that with somebody beside you. Yeah? Test your arms strong first. Every cell in your body knows what you're thinking. If you don't feel this, you won't believe it. So did anybody feel the difference? Yes? The reason, Sandra was just asking me why you close your eyes. If your eyes are open, the conscious, critical mind, the analytical mind is functioning 100%. Like if I said to you, you're on a boat, yeah, on the lagoon, you're thinking, he's talking rubbish, I'm in this room at Queens. If you closed your eyes, and you imagined that you were on a boat, and you imagined you could see portholes, okay, you could actually believe that, because the unconscious part of the mind does not know the difference between the real world and dream world, okay? And its language is pictures, okay? It sees in pictures, okay? So it's a very, we'll see later on, it's a very powerful part of the mind that a lot of people don't use. I can get extraordinary results with athletes, even champions, because that's the part of the mind that I start with. Most people, even in a couple of friends into psychology, they would emphasize more on the conscious mind. You need the two of them to work together, but a lot of people neglect the unconscious part of the mind, but it really drives the bus, okay? And it's where the emotions and all are stored. It's very intuitive. So I call my work unconscious awareness therapy. Anybody seeing me, I will teach them all the rules of the unconscious part of the mind and show them how to work it, because it can be your best friend or your worst enemy, but it doesn't know. And at the end of the day, it's yours. So if you learn the rules of it, then it's a very powerful tool that you have to promote health in yourself and to lead a contented life. Okay?
Sorry, Sean, if you, like, just say you're in the gym or whatever, sometimes you get the very last bench press out, I would close my eyes to drive up the bar, which kind of goes against what you just have to learn now, that when I close my eyes, it's gently here, and very easy.
But where was your mind when you closed your eyes, when you were getting muscle tested?
Yeah, well, I was trying to think of the worst thing going on.
But when you're lifting, when you're doing your bench pressing, you won't be thinking of the worst thing. You're actually seeing it going up there. So the thought patterns are different. There's certain thoughts. Everything that you think, everything that you say, everything that you eat will either make your body weaker or stronger. My job is just to find out what's going to make you stronger. When I sit down with any athlete, I'm working recently with racing drivers and motorbike racers, which I know nothing about, and professional golfers. I don't play golf either, but I have to get inside their head to see what's going on. I have to see the world that they live in, and to find out. All I want to know is what's making them uncomfortable and what's making them feel weak, and I replace that. That's simply what I do. Okay, and I can recently with a couple of professional cage fighters, I got them to lift their maximum weight. They'd all peaked before their fight, and I had them lifting the same weight 3 times. They could only lift it once. 3 minutes later, they were lifting it 3 times, just by me talking to them and giving them certain visualizations. This stuff can work very, very quickly. It doesn't take a long time to change. If you believe it does, it will. Yeah. Any other questions on that, or? I just wanted a starting point, because there will be times in your life that you do feel weak or small or uncomfortable. So you need something to be able to replace that. I'm going to give you something later on, okay? Because I want you to leave here with some tools that you can use, and even, maybe use with your children or grandchildren, okay? So worry doesn't do anything, just makes you weak. And remember, you're causing it. So if you're feeling any of these negative emotions, you have to ask yourself, what am I thinking about? What am I focusing on here? Because I've caused this state. Even if you lose your temper, you have to stand back and think, okay, where's this anger came upon me? What am I seeing in my head? What is my perception of what's going on around me? Guilt. I always say this is an unnatural emotion. My background in the Chinese and Ayurvedic medicine is all based on the elements and the emotions and the seasons. Okay? You have 5 natural emotions, they say, in Asia, human beings: joy, worry, grief, fear, and anger. And they all have to be expressed. They all have to keep changing like the seasons. Okay? Guilt is not there, and guilt can become a killer. It turns to an autoimmune disease. Somebody who leads a life where they constantly have a feeling or burden of guilt, it's not a very nice feeling. The immune system turns against the body, and this is scientifically proven. Your immune system is very, very powerful. It's tenacious, even against cancer cells. So if I'm treating anybody, suffering anything like that, the first question in my head is, what's suppressing the immune system? I have to take a whole history of what has went on in their life. Yeah? Because guilt does nothing, it solves nothing, and it does turn to self-hate. And at the end of the day, you have to like who you are. I always say you have to be your own best friend. It doesn't matter what other people think. You have to like who you see in the mirror every day. You have to feel good about yourself. And never feel small or insecure in anybody's company, because you spend more time with yourself than anyone else. And if you don't like who you are, if you feel uncomfortable with yourself, you will want to change your state, and people do it through different resources. Some people do it through alcohol, some people do it through drugs. I've seen consultants in the past who struck off for self-medicating. All human beings just want to change their state. Even people who get angry and smash things, they aren't happy. People who have wonderful goals set out for maybe 20, 25 years. If everybody here in the hall had a different goal, if you wanted a bigger house, a bigger company, you wanted a new partner, you wanted to live somewhere else, okay? What you're really saying is, if I had that, I think I would be happier. Human beings are pleasure seekers because of the unconscious mind. It's always seeking comfort, okay? And people will use what resources they think they have to change their state. You have all the resources that you need within yourself to do anything, especially it starts with changing your state, to make yourself feel comfortable, to make yourself feel strong in any situation. And it will sabotage your goals. If you want to stop biting your fingernails, you have to believe deep down that you're worth having nice nails, or you won't stop biting them. Your self-esteem is your greatest strength. It's the greatest strength for any human being. And as I say, I see the end of the barrel. Usually myself and a couple of other friends do the same type of work. We see people, as last resort, they've came to us, and it's usually you're building. The first thing I start with anybody is their self-esteem, because that is your immune system. Okay, we're on to the good stuff now. Okay, so this is the jewel in the crown of all states that human beings should be in: confidence. It's the main ingredient for success. If you're confident in yourself that you can do something, you will keep at it until you achieve it. It eliminates fear of failure, because failure won't exist. And even if it doesn't turn out what you've had a go at, you'll be confident in yourself. Think, well, if I give that a go, I'll do it next time, because I'm a good learner. I've got a new experience there, new achievement. I'll do it next time. Make new relationships. Again, if you're confident in who you are and where you've came in life, you'll be confident around anybody. Too many people pigeonhole themselves. They put other people up here and others here, and maybe they're there somewhere, okay? Or they put themselves up here and others down there. So it depends on what company they're in. Sometimes they feel big, sometimes they feel small. Equanimity is the secret, okay? Everybody's equal. If have respect for people. If people have done well, respect them. I would always say, but don't look up to them. If you're always looking up to people all your life, you're always going to feel beneath them. So have respect for people who have done well, but look up to yourself, and always remind yourself, if they have done that, I could do it too. Because you can't do anything. A lot of it, again, comes back to your childhood, your programming. And a lot of people, you're programmed up until the age of 16, usually by your parents and your peers. And certain experiences that you have in life will drive you that way, or sometimes that way. Okay? Again, you will experience new activities. You will have a go at anything. And you will reach for new opportunities. I mean, you're feeling good. Every system in your body works better. And you will eat properly as well. You won't be craving for, junk foods, sugar rushes to change your state. Okay? So it does promote good health. And you're confident in yourself. I would specialize in confidence. That would be one of the big things I would specialize in, giving somebody with no confidence. A lot of people in the past have asked certain athletes I've worked with can go and compete with world champions, but yet they look more confident. And they perform more confident. It's all in here. Yeah? There's a lot of tricks. You can gain great confidence. If you're confident that baking apple tarts, you can take that confidence and put it into public speaking. You can put it into anything. Once you know the rules of it, it's knowing the basics of where human confidence comes from. Once people always will say to me,